Salutations and welcome to the farm. Well, you know, earlier we had some pinto beans go into our Nesco pressure canner. And when I made breakfast and did the recipe for you for chaffles, I'll put that up here somewhere. I shared with you that I was making some more onion stock in my Instant Pot. So the stock is done. The beans are coming down from pressure. And now I'm going to get my onions ready because as soon as these beans come out, French onion soup is going in. So I'm going to get these onions and get them all ready. You know what's great about cutting these onions up to make my French onion soup? I have the papers and the ends and the waste. They're going to go back into my bag, which is going to go back into my freezer, which is then going to make more broth that I can use for my recipes or use it to make more French onion soup. It's almost like that perpetual vanilla. I'll put an iCard up here for the vanilla, how to make your own vanilla. But it seems like the more onions you cut up to make recipes, the more waste you get to make more veggie stock, to make more recipes. It's just a never-ending cycle, and I think it's great. So I've got my bag. I have just a little bit of waste from this first onion, just the papers and the ends, and it's going to go in here. We're going to set it aside over here, and I'm just going to keep cutting up my onions. The ends go right in the bag. And the first layer and the papers go in the bag. They don't go in the trash. They'll be turned into veggie stock next time I make some. I know I don't have the best knife skills. I have friends who are professional chefs that are going to make fun of my knife skills, but it gets the job done. I guarantee you, when my family eats my French onion soup, none of them say, "Gosh, Mom," or "Gosh, honey, this onion soup is pretty good, but your knife skills are questionable." I'm going to continue getting these cut up and we'll be back. Okay. We have our Nesco canner moved to the front. It is still under a natural release for the pinto beans that we have going, but our broth is done. I have it all separated from all of the veggie scraps, so our veggie broth is all ready to go. My onions have all been cut up, and now we're going to saute the onions for our French onion soup. I brought over my Instant Pot. I've got it set to saute. We're going to add 1 stick of butter. And we're going to put in a good drizzle of olive oil. This will keep the butter from burning, and we're still going to get a really nice caramelization on our onions for our French onion soup. So those two components are in, and let's add our onions. Back in November of 2021, I went to an onion farm and I was able to bring home a big 50-pound bag of onions. I've done so much with those onions. I had so many onions I didn't even know what to do with them. We've been making all kinds of things here at the farm. I've even sent them home with my sons for my daughter-in-laws. It's like, please take the onions. I had so many, but this is the last of them. I've got about 10 onions in this bowl. We're just going to add them here to the Instant Pot. And we're going to let these saute down. They're going to sweat. And we're just going to keep going for about 45 minutes until they're beautifully caramelized. Okay, our onions have been sauteing for about 45 minutes. I've added just a little bit of our veggie stock to them. Also, I added about a tablespoon of thyme. All of that aromatic is just floating through the air. The onions and the thyme is just delicious. So I'm going to add a little bit more broth. I've got another 4 cups of broth that we're going to add here to our soup. And what would French onion soup be without some wine? So I'm just going to put in a healthy little dose of some red wine. Maybe about half a cup, 3/4 cup. I'm going to add some amino acids. Recipes tend to call for Worcestershire sauce. I don't eat Worcestershire sauce, but amino acids is a good substitute. So I'm just going to put a little blop, bloop, of Worcestershire sauce into our French onion soup. And also just to give our base just a little bit more depth to our veggie base, I've got some Better Than bouillon. This is a vegetable bouillon base. It has more of the flavors and some salt. And so I'm just going to take a big old scoop of my Better Than bouillon and just plop it right into our soup, retrieving the spoon before I lose it. And that's just going to give some real nice depth to our soup base. Now I think for tonight, I'm going to add some meatballs into my French onion soup. It's cold outside, and French onion soup is lovely, but sometimes for a meal at dinner time, sometimes you need something a little more. So I'm going to add 4 more cups of veggie stock. I'm going to let this keep cooking, going to taste it as I go, and then we're going to dish it up for dinner tonight. I have some beautiful little garlic, gosh, I don't even know what they are. I got them at the Amish store. Some beautiful little garlic rounds, and we're going to put those on top of our soup, put some provolone on top, and then pop them in the broiler, and that will be dinner tonight. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some plant-based meatballs. They're already ready to go. If you want to add meatballs to any type of soup like this and you're making them from fresh ground beef, make sure you pop them in the broiler or in the oven, cook them thoroughly through, and then add them to your soup. These are all ready to go, so I'm going to put them in, and we're just going to add this to our French onion soup today. I put all the broth in that I made earlier today. I'm not going to have any to can, but I suspect I'm going to have soup left over to can. That will go into the Nesco canner when I'm done. My Instant Pot is filled to the brim with delicious goodness for this soup. Let's take a little taste. Just a little taste, and it's going to be hot. Oh, that's good. That wine, the bouillon, the onion flavor, that's a delicious soup. The thyme, so good. You know, my French onion soup's been cooking for a little while now. I've tasted it a couple times. I'm going to add some pepper. It just needs a little bit more spice to it. So I'm just going to put in a healthy pinch of pepper. See if that wakes it up a little bit. Well, dinner is done just in time. It's dark out. Papa Jim just came home after a long day at work. And usually I would serve French onion soup in a nice little mug and pop it under the broiler, but I know he's going to be hungry tonight, so I'm going to use a bowl today. And especially since we have the meatballs, we want to have plenty of room for the meatballs. So let's scoop out some onion soup with meatballs. Now I will admit I tried to be very careful when I was sauteing and make sure that I didn't have anything burn on the bottom. I did have a little bit. There are a couple little bits that are burnt, but I think we're going to be okay. Let's load up with lots of onions and broth. There we go. And earlier I was telling you that I had some little garlic chips that we got at the Amish store. They're garlic bagel chips. They're just this size, super thin, and I'm just going to sprinkle those on top. And I'm going to cover it with 2 slices of provolone cheese. And I'm going to pop it under the broiler, and then I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. So in the oven it goes. Well, I've just pulled the second French onion soup out of the oven from under the broiler, and they are beautiful. I'll be sure to bring the camera down and get a good top shot so you can see just how lovely they turned out. They smell delicious. We're going to have 2 big hearty bowls of soup. I've got all of the meatballs in there, and I'm still going to get probably at least 3 quarts of French onion soup to put in the canner. So after we have dinner, I'll take the beans out and we'll put the French onion soup in. But for now, we're going to go eat. Little nip never hurt anybody.